Hello, I'm Rob Hirschfeld. I'm a principal architect at Dell and one of the lead architects on our OpenStack and Crowbar initiatives. So I'm here to talk to you about something called Barclamps. Barclamps are a part of our Crowbar architecture, and they're a really important piece. So I want to take a little bit of time to explain what they mean, but more importantly how they help you. Because the Barclamps are modules within Crowbar that allow you to deploy applications and components of your system. They really take your whole system architecture and they break it into pieces so that you can manage them individually, you can change them, and really create the cloud that you want. So by changing the Barclamp mix, or how you configure the Barclamps, is really how you create the cloud that's right for you. And therefore it's a very important aspect of the Crowbar infrastructure. Let me try and show you with a picture a little bit about how this works. We see Crowbar as a vertical component within your operational cloud. That component works on the hardware, operating systems, the management, and the applications that you're going to deploy. It's all about getting to the applications that you want to deploy in your cloud, right? That could be Nova and Swift for cloud, OpenStack cloud management. It could actually be regular web applications that you're deploying on the hardware on top of the systems that you've already deployed. All that's fine. Crowbar really doesn't care. It's working with Chef behind the scenes, which is proven DevOps capability to make all this stuff happen. And I'm going to add Chef into this because it's important when you talk about Crowbar and Barclamps to understand that Chef is really the data store for Crowbar. That Crowbar is really extending the capabilities for Chef, and it uses the data and the cookbooks, the roles, all those pieces are in there for what Crowbar is doing and leveraging with Barclamps. So what we've done is we've actually taken every one of these layers and implemented Barclamps behind the scenes that take on different roles and responsibilities for managing this system. There's Barclamps that do BIOS and RAID, IPMI, DNS, DHCP, NTP, Nagios, Ganglia. Overall, there's 16 Barclamps in the default configuration right now, and we're currently adding them all over the place because it's such a great way to take functionality that you want and extend your data center, your cloud operations in small, controlled ways and bring them back into the overall infrastructure of Crowbar. So what we've done with these modules these actually tie back in to the infrastructure. So they're part of Crowbar's state machine, meaning that Crowbar actually can control when different Barclamps are implemented, but they also wrap Chef functionality. So a Chef cookbook with the recipes and roles and data that it needs to deploy an application is basically one and the same. It has direct mapping into a Barclamp. Barclamp might have many roles, may have many components that can be very complex, but at the end it's going to map back into Chef capabilities to do the deployments for that component of your system. That could be Nova or Swift, it could be something as simple as the IPMI interfaces and making sure that those are enabled. We work through the whole gamut. All those pieces stack up together and work as modules and pieces. One of the things I want to explain that's really important in understanding a Barclamp is that a Barclamp has 3 phases that it goes through to become deployed in your environment. The first is really a template phase. And when we talk about Barclamps, we're really talking mostly about the template phase of the Barclamp. At that point, it's just all the cookbooks and recipes and data that it could get deployed, but nobody's made any choices yet. Once you take that template and it becomes a proposal, you're actually making choices. You're saying, this is my template, I now have an instance. I'm assigning roles to nodes, I'm setting values and defaults, and all the configuration pieces. At that point, you can change it. You can change the configuration and settings, you can change it from one type of networking to another. Each Barclamp has its own configuration set up, and it can be customized to your cloud needs. That's really important because that allows you to have the flexibility to manage how your system is deployed. You can choose which nodes you want, all sorts of choices are available before it's deployed. That's the benefit of a proposal. And every Barclamp can have multiple proposals. So it's possible to have one proposal that's on some of your equipment and another proposal for the same Barclamp on a different set of equipment. It really depends on how you've built that Barclamp and the Chef cookbooks that go behind it. Once you're happy with the proposal, then you commit it into an active role. So for the active role, that's really where the bar clamp turns over control to chef. Roles are chef roles. The nodes have been assigned into those roles. The run list has been updated. If you're not familiar with chef, these are all chef terms. Highly recommend studying that. That'll help you understand what Crowbar does at a very fundamental level. But at that point, the deployment begins and the system starts doing what it needs. If the system's not ready for deployment, Crowbar will then do the bootstrapping to get the systems installed and the operating systems ready and all those pieces. So it all comes together with Barclamps. Barclamps are really the essential part of what Crowbar does. And there's another really important thing about Barclamps that I want to talk about very briefly, is that Barclamps are part of our open source story for Crowbar. Crowbar itself is a framework. The Barclamps are modules, and they can be individually sourced. So another hardware vendor besides Dell could create their own BIOS Barclamp, and it could be deployed as substitute for our BIOS Barclamp. That is by design. We want to be able to offer customers choice. If they want to not use the default Nagios Barclamp, they can switch and use Xenos or whichever other Barclamps they're interested in using. It's really about being able to have a lot of people contribute to this project in very small ways, but those small ways add up into a cloud. Thank you.